Does the idea of a friendship between colonizers and former colonies make sense to you? Well, at least for the population of the African Sahel, this makes no sense at all. In recent years, 3 countries in the region have had military uprisings with broad popular support. We are talking about Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, which decided to break with the West and with France, the former colonizer. Do you want to understand the story behind this revolution? Come along, BDF explains. The Sahel marks the transition from the Sahara Desert to more humid savannas further south in Africa. The lands are rich in natural resources with huge reserves of uranium, gold, oil, gas, and diamonds. Even so, the countries in the region are among the poorest on the planet. The blame lies with colonial and neocolonial agreements. After the Berlin Conference, West Africa went through several imperialist domains, but France and Great Britain exerted the greatest influence in the region, with 8 colonies controlled by the French, an area equivalent to 8 times the size of France itself. When 1960, national liberation movements won independence from Senegal to Chad, but this was not reflected in the achievement of sovereignty. France maintained its influence in the region through the Colonial Pact, which established the concept of Françafrique, a fallacious narrative in which the metropole would be a partner and friend to its former colonies. One of the effects of this was the almost complete restriction of the former colonies' ability to produce and process goods in their own lands. In addition, the franc is still in effect in the region. CFA, a currency linked to the French treasury and dependent on the Bank of France. To maintain this system, France supported coups, strategically positioned military bases in African countries, carried out military interventions, and orchestrated political assassinations, such as that of Burkinabe revolutionary leader Thomas Sankara on October 15, 1987. The current French President Emmanuel Macron tried to differentiate himself from previous leaders, but in practice, he expanded the military presence in his former colonies and only increased the region's desire for sovereignty. Anti-French sentiment increased after NATO invaded Libya in 2011 and overthrew leader Muammar Gaddafi. From then on, groups of smugglers and branches of Al-Qaeda occupied a large part of the Sahel. As the violence spread, France sent thousands of soldiers for operations Barkhane and Serval starting in 2013, with the aim of combating terrorism, but the attacks did not decrease. Thus began the wave of popular military uprisings. First was in Mali in 2020, when Assimi Goïta overthrew President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. In 2022, in Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré led an uprising that deposed military leader Paul Henri Damiba. Closing the list is Niger in 2023, with the rise of General Abdurrahmane Chiani to power. Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso, was one of the first voices to challenge French military action. The 37-year-old captain studied geology, joined the army to fight against jihadist groups, and today, by rekindling confidence in Pan-Africanism, he is one of the most popular faces on the continent. He is inspired by the historic leader Thomas Sankara and is also putting into practice a bold plan for industrialization and food self-sufficiency. One of his main measures was the creation of a state-owned mining company that began to require foreign companies to give a 15% stake in their operations. The military junta has also nationalized 2 gold mines and is building its own refinery. With nationalized gold, the government of Burkina Faso has already distributed $179 million in agricultural machinery to support the agricultural revolution in the country. Traoré's measures have massive popular support, especially from young people. When traveling around the country, it is common to see community work parties paving streets and roads. In addition, citizens hold nightly vigils at more than 20 points in the capital, Ouagadougou, to protect the leader and the country from possible attacks. The people also contribute to a collective fund to support the revolutionary process. From January to July 2024, 1.6 billion CFA francs were raised, the equivalent of 980 million reais. Recently, Brasil de Fato was in Burkina Faso and Niger, providing intense coverage of the ongoing social dynamics and geopolitical disputes, and we will soon release a documentary about popular resistance in the region. But for this coverage to continue to exist, we need your help. For just $1 a day, you can support journalism that fights alongside the People's Revolution. See you in the next video.